When I first met this client, they were a sweet couple. They had some ideas of their own, which they gave me some Instagram pictures. I love it when people give me some images that they found online that they like. It sort of shows us the dimensions, like do they like things close together or far apart? Do they like things that are a bit taller or shorter? And also it tells us a little bit about their taste when it comes to the style of just the overall feel and the plantings. And we were able to discuss with them their needs, and also using the images they provided, give them what they were looking for. The most exciting part for me was the AstroTurf area. The stepping stones with the evergreen turf that we put down is going to be so useful for the customer. And when she showed me a picture of it that she'd seen on Instagram, I was so excited to do it. This was going to add that geometrical shape. In Middle Tennessee, the grass is a very dark green generally. The AstroTurf is more of a medium green. It brightens the area against the backdrop of the other grass. You know, from above and from the sides, it just adds so much dimension to the whole area. When we were going to do the stepping stones, we knew where our destination was, and we knew where we were going to have to make our turns. So we carefully plotted that out with a computer first, but then in reality, we put down stakes and we painted that out. So that helped us know exactly where we're going to begin, where we're going to end. We also measured the distances, knew the size of the stepping stones, and planned the size of the gaps so that you could step from one to the other. The trash can area, even though you want to put the trash can someplace, you don't want it in your entertainment space in the backyard, so the side of the yard winds up being the default area many times. What we do is we make beds, they go up and slightly around that, and then we add plantings to hide it, and that's what we did in this instance. The actual surface where the garbage cans are on are stepping stones with a very small gravel, but it's not small enough that it'll wash out. Now they've got a great place to put their garbage cans, and it can't be seen from the street because of the plantings that we put in between. We put a privacy screen on this property, and we used green giant arborvitae. Toward the end, the client added some more of the incredible hydrangeas in front of those arborvitae. When they grow up and they fill in, it's just going to have this beautiful soft ferny feel with the beautiful bright white blooming hydrangeas in front. When we were redoing the front yard, there were leftover plants that needed to be reused. We made new beds in the back that made perfect sense where the house would go in and out, and now they got reused, so that investment wasn't lost. And around every plant that we planted, we put a compost mix right around the roots so that they could get used to their new environment. We have some awesome dwarf boxwoods that are going to create some clean lines around the outer edge of the front yard of the landscape, and we also have some incredible hydrangeas. The reason that we're using these plants is they make an amazing combination together. The big poofy white blooms that are going to come are just going to be amazing. This is typically seen in a formal English garden, and these hydrangeas are going to give you very large, enormous blooms that distract from everything. When you see them, you're just going to fall in love and want to walk right in the door and celebrate summer. There are lots of hydrangeas that have a white bloom and that have different shapes. This particular client loves to have this mass of rich paper white blooms, whereas some of the other varieties have maybe a little bit more lime or a little bit more cream color. This is going to be a basic paper white. The corners are going to be very sharp and angular, and also we did a little ditch that's going to run right in front of them so that there'll be this dark area right in front of the boxwoods between the grass and the boxwoods, and then this will create a very formal feel. They do have some evergreens that are going to grow 12 to 15 feet tall. You know, they have the green color with the soft needles on them, and you soften the corners of the hardscape, and then you've got the landscape down below. So this is going to bring all of the landscape upwards just a bit and soften the sides of the house. But in the front yard, we're basically taking out boxwoods that were going to grow larger and not have as clean of a line, and we also took hydrangeas out that were not the color that the client wanted. So this landscape redo in the front yard is going to be a great transformation. She wants it to look dressy and fancy and upscale. Even though the other plants were very similar, they're not the same, and it doesn't give the same feel. The way the boxwoods were before, the contractor who built the house and put the landscape in left the landscape very uneven, and so the boxwoods that were put in were uneven. because no one took the time to make the beds nice and flat and even, and then make the outer edge of the beds very clean and sharp. And then the hydrangeas that they put in were not going to serve the purpose because they weren't the right look. It wasn't going to have that very formal look and feel. It was just going to look like somebody made an attempt, but they really didn't put the effort into it. And so this takes it another level up. Today we learned that a customer can actually have many of the plants that they need and still not get the function that they want. The larger boxwoods weren't going to meet the need of the dwarf boxwood hedge that she was going for, and the hydrangeas with the types of blooms that were there before weren't going to meet the needs of the type of blooms that she liked. And we also found out that leveling the beds and making very clean lines matter. With some simple changes, they got a fantastic front yard landscape. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share this with your friends. Thank you. See you next time.